So what is the difference between the Ten Commandments that, that were placed in the ark and then the rest of Torah? That's what I want to answer in this short video. So we know that the 10 were given in chapter 20 when they get to Mount Sinai. But let's go a little bit from some of the commandments that were given before they reached Mount Sinai. So in Exodus 13, they had the Passover and the unleavened bread. But this is where God talks to Moses to tell the people. Okay, and that's an interesting phrase that we're going to hear over and over again. In chapter 16, when the Sabbath and the manna are given, and God told Moses to tell the people, right? Same thing. When we get to Mount Sinai, the 10 are given, but it says, and God spoke face to face with the people. So in these 10, they heard what he said. Okay, and then in from 21 all the way to 40, Leviticus and Numbers and Deuteronomy, uh, which we'll call the rest of the Torah, the people said, and whatever he tells you, we will do. And God spoke to Moses. God spoke to Aaron and Moses in the rest of these. So that's the distinction that I'm going to try to prove to you. That's the difference between the 10 and the rest of the Torah. So here we have the 10 that are given, but you'll notice that in the second 40th day, the making of the Ark of the Covenant is given. So when the 10 is given and Moses is bringing them down and he breaks them, if he didn't break them, where was he going to do with them? Where was he going to put them? So after reading the whole context here, you kind of almost know that God knew that he was gonna break them, and then he was gonna have to come up for another 40 days, because the making of the ark isn't given until the second 40 days. So you have to kind of connect the dots here, um, and and you know that it wasn't God wasn't taken by surprise. Oh, he broke them. Well, now we'll have to make some more. No, I think he already knew what was gonna happen. So again, God gives he handwrites the tablets, gives them to Moses, and Moses goes down and he breaks them. Okay, so if he doesn't break them, what was he going to do with them? Hold them, and then after the second 40 days, you, he'll say, "Oh, by the way, bring the ark." Because it was after the second 40 days that the commandment to bring the ark. But he did tell them, since you broke them, next time that you come, bring the ark that is in cedar form, so that we can put them in there so you won't break them. So after the reading of the whole context, we understand that the 10 in the tablets were to be placed in the ark. So it is the 10 um, was symbolically the covenant that was the testimony, what they heard that they put into the ark, that was always going to go before them, so that it went from being the ark of the testimony, the ark that had the 10, to the ark of the covenant, the ark that held God's writing in there, and along with their oath, or what they heard, that became the covenant. Okay, so now this is 40 years afterward that we have these words. So I'm going to kind of go through them for you, because you're not going to find these in Exodus 20 and 24. But 4:10, Deuteronomy 4:10, um, and remember is highlighted, so it's not really there. Remember the day that you stood before the Lord your God at Horeb, when the Lord said to me, "Assemble the people to me, that I may that I may have them hear my words, so that they may learn to fear me in all the days that they live on earth, that they may teach these to the children. You came forward and stood at the foot of the mountain, and the mountain was burning with fire in the heart, to the heart of the heavens, darkness and clouds and thick gloom. Then the Lord spoke to you from the midst of the fire. You heard the sound of words, devarim, right? Concepts, you know, but you saw no form. There was only a voice. So he declared to you his covenant, the Beri, right, which he commanded you to perform. That is the Ten Commandments, or the ten concepts, the ten matters that you heard, uh, and he wrote them down on two tablets of stone. Just these. Okay, now this is 40 years afterwards. So the whole Torah has been given, but only the 10 that they heard were written on the tablets. The Lord commanded me at that time to teach you the statutes and judgment, that you should perform them in the days where you're going to over to take possession of it. Now Moses summoned the people and said to them, listen, Israel, to the statutes. This is Deuteronomy 5:1, right? The Lord your God made a covenant with us at Horeb. The Lord did not make the covenant with our fathers, but with us, who are alive here. The Lord spoke to you face to face, or in his presence. You were there at the mountain from the midst of the fire, while I was standing between the Lord and you. So the difference between this that they heard, the 10 that they heard, right, was they heard it. Moses was in between, right? Was standing between the Lord and you, and to declare to you the words, or the debar of the Lord, for you were afraid because of the fire. You did not go up to the mountain. And then this is Deuteronomy 10. At the time the Lord said to me, cut for yourself two tablets of stone like the first two, and come up to me on the mountain, uh, uh, and make an ark of wood. It doesn't have the gold on it. Then I will write on the tablets the Devarim that were on the first tablets, which you smashed to pieces. So this is the second 40 days, and you shall put them into the ark. So I made an ark of acacia wood and cut up the two tablets of stones like the first two, and I went up to the mountain with the two tablets in my hand, and he wrote on the tablets like the first, the 10 commandments, right, which the Lord had spoken to you on the mount, which the Lord had spoken to you on the mountain from the midst of the fire of the day of the assembly. The Lord gave them to me. Then I turned and came down the mountain, and I put the tablets in the ark which I had made, and they are there just as the Lord commanded me. So if we look at the commandments, but remember they said what that will Moses, you go up and whatever he tells you, that we will do. So if you look at the whole Torah, or some say 613, you can, some say 620. I don't. We know that there are at least more than 600, but the 10 are here to everyone. Not everything in the Torah is for you. Some is for um, those that have servants, the farmers, the high priest, the men, the women, the lepers, and the judges and the kings. So some are distinct to some of the people. The priests in the Leviticus, they probably have more in there, but there's a little bit more than uh, I would say almost half, a little bit less than half, are for everyone in the Torah. And this is the common. Torah means the instructions, right? The instruction to the lepers, the instruction to the priests, the instruction to the women, the instruction to the men. But collectively, they're called the instructions. While they can be one, the one instruction. Um, do not steal. It's just one instruction. But that's what Torah means, the instructions. Okay, so this is all the 600, more than 600 commandments, and these can be statutes, ordinances, commandments, and 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 they are collectively the Torah, which is a part of the five books of Moses. Now, one of the divisions that I keep coming up in some of the debate forums is what basically is called the moral, judicial, and the ceremonial law. I want to show you where this came from. This is from the 16th century. John Calvin came up with these divisions. And I mean, it makes sense, the way that he breaks them down, but you don't find this in any of the Torah. You don't, this is not in your Bible. This is a division for religious purposes. Uh, Basically, what they want to do, they tell you the judicial, well, we don't really follow that, and the ceremonial, because of the temple, well, it doesn't exist anymore, so you don't need to follow that. But yet they take tithes, right? Which is part of the ceremonial in their concept. Okay, but basically, this divides the Torah into three separate distinctions or categories, and this is a uh, 16th century, 17th century concept. This is not found in the Torah and the Bible at all. This is a religious, construct in order to be able to go into the Torah and say, well, see, this doesn't really doesn't affect us anymore. We don't have a temple. We don't have the Levites and all, you know, and I mean that's already understood. Okay, but to divide it this way is to separate the Torah to where, and from here, then you have basically the ten, the is the guiding principle of everything. Everything else is done away with. So, in my understanding, or the way that this is brought out, is brought up in order to be able to say, these are not for us. Only these here are what we need to follow. Um, Again, a religious um, construct in order to divide the Torah. And if you divide the Torah, then you don't get the full purpose of what God was intending to do, because the by the first century the temple was still standing anyway. So I'm telling you that the difference what I see in the 10 that went into the ark was what they had heard, because um, uh, and in Exodus 24, we have the covenant. So Moses took the blood and sprinkled on all the people and said, behold the blood of the covenant which the Lord has made with you in accordance with all of these devarim, the words with all of these matters or concepts. Okay, so the 10 are simply what the people heard. The rest of it was given to Moses, and then Moses went and had to teach these to the people. So the 10 are the testimony that the people heard in the mountain face to face with God. And this was their covenant with him that was placed in the ark of the testimony as a testimony against him, that became the ark of the covenant, right? This was the handwriting of the Lord testified between him and the people that went into the ark. Okay, that's the best that I can tell you. The difference between the rest of the Torah and the 10, they heard the 10 from the midst of the mountain.